What's up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. Today I've got a totally wild and funny story to share about a dog who was secretly running an organized crime ring right under his owner's nose. My dog's secret life as a crime boss. I first started to suspect something was up with my dog Baxter when he would disappear for hours at a time. As a border collie, he's always been a smart and active dog, but his new behavior struck me as odd. One day I decided to follow him when he left the house. He went into the backyard, looked around suspiciously, and then squeezed under a loose board in the fence. Where was he going? I lifted the board and crawled into the neighbor's yard to find out. I trailed Baxter at a distance as he trotted down the street. He led me to a nearby abandoned warehouse where he stopped at the entrance and barked twice. To my shock, the door opened and he strolled inside like he owned the place. I waited a few minutes and then snuck up to pee in the door. What I saw inside astonished me. Baxter was sitting at the head of a table surrounded by a group of tough-looking dogs. I couldn't believe my eyes. My dog was having some kind of meeting with other dogs. I strained to listen as Baxter addressed the group. "All right, boys, listen up. We've got a big job tonight. Those cats in the alley on the 5th have been moving in on our territory. It's time to send them a message." The other dogs growled in approval. My jaw dropped as I realized Baxter was some kind of crime boss organizing dog gangs in the neighborhood. Take your crew to roust up those cats and remind them those trash cans are ours. And make sure they understand not to come back," Baxter commanded. One of the bigger dogs barked acquiescence. "Now on to new business," Baxter continued. "The squirrels have been getting too greedy with the nuts in the park. Pee-wee, gather your team to shake them down for a cut of the profits." A tiny chihuahua yipped his agreement. I snuck away from the door, mind racing. My dog was running mafia-style operations right under my nose. How did I not know about this? That night when Baxter came home, I confronted him about his secret criminal enterprise. He tried playing dumb at first, but when he saw I wasn't buying it, he came clean. All right. Yes, it's true," he said. "But Johnny, we're just trying to keep order in the neighborhood. Make sure everyone gets their fair share. Without my crime family, it would be chaos." I had to admit he had a point. Maybe this whole operation wasn't such a bad thing after all. Just try to keep the violence to a minimum, okay? I told him. Baxter happily agreed, pleased I wasn't going to interfere with his work. And so we reached an understanding. I'd let him continue running the neighborhood as long as he kept me clued in on his business dealings from now on. After all, you don't mess with a crime boss, even if he is a dog. Things went smoothly for a while. Baxter would head out for work during the day and return in the evening, greeting me with his usual doggy kisses. His shady meetings didn't seem to be doing any harm. But one night Baxter didn't come home at his usual time. I started to worry and went out looking for him. Finally, I found him limping down the street, fur matted, with a deep cut over his eye. It looked like he'd gotten in a nasty dog fight. "What happened? Who did this to you?" I asked as I cleaned him up. "It was those pugs from across town," Baxter explained. "They've been moving in on our bone racket at the butcher shop. I had to teach them a lesson." Baxter's world of organized crime was more dangerous than I realized. From then on, I insisted on joining Baxter on his jobs to help keep him safe. He taught me the ropes of running his various criminal operations around the neighborhood. I got to know all his dog crew lieutenants and street soldiers. With me backing him up, Baxter's status rose quickly in the crime dog underworld. Before long, dogs from all over the city were coming for advice from the infamous crime collie and his human consigliere. Other crime dog bosses started to resent Baxter's growing power. We now had rivals to worry about in addition to the usual turf disputes. Late one night we were ambushed walking home by a pair of ruthless Rottweilers from across town. Baxter fought them off bravely but took a few more bites. As I treated his fresh wounds, I knew things were escalating out of control. Baxter's crime boss days had to end before he got seriously hurt or worse. That's the last straw. I told him, I'm pulling you out of this criminal life. From now on, you're just going to be a normal house dog. Double quotes. To my surprise, Baxter readily agreed. You're right, Johnny. I'm getting too old for this stuff. It's time to retire. And so Baxter's brief reign as crime boss came to an end. These days he happily spends his time lounging around the house and going on regular walks. He seems content being a normal pet again. I do catch him glancing wistfully out the window now and then, perhaps missing those glory days running the neighborhood. But a part of me will always think of him as the top dog mobster who secretly ruled the streets. As I scratch his ears, I remind Baxter, no more crime boss stuff anymore, but you'll always be a good boy to me. And his tail wags in simple agreement. And that's a wrap on the insane tale of Baxter's adventures as a canine crime boss. Definitely one of the most ridiculous and hilarious stories I've ever read, right? Let me know what you thought of Baxter and his chaotic criminal exploits in the comments. If you got a laugh out of this totally crazy dog tale, be sure to drop a like. Thanks as always for tuning in, you guys. I appreciate you all. I'll catch you in the next video. Until then, stay safe and take care.